Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and get to introduce to everyone Yasmin Sitab Khan, who recently graduated with her, finished her PhD from the Berkeley, and has joined RTI in Washington. And she's going on her dissertation, which is very interesting in early grade mathematics, looking at bridging informal knowledge and numeracy, and studies from India and Mexico. Yasmin, I'll let you go ahead and get started. Thank you. Oh, yeah.
And since I don't have the screen, just let me know about timing. Hi everyone, my name is Yasmin. And I'm going to talk today about
Yasmin, sorry to interrupt. It's not picking up. Can you check your sound?
better? Okay. Okay. About what I'm going to I hope that this fosters how we can everyone has heard talk about
Yeah, she can. Yasmin, can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear
Okay, your sound is still not working. It's very faint on your side. Let's see if we can.
Maybe ask her to change back her old webcam.
Is that better?
Yes, that's better. That's better. Lean forward. I think if you lean back, it goes away. Closer to the computer. Yes. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Into
what.
mic here.
Yeah, no.
There's a little.
Now I'm getting
Yes, that's better. Yes, thank you.
feedback.
How about that? Is that okay? Okay. Let's hope this works. Okay. Hopefully everyone can hear. I was formal and informal mathematics. the terms so that we know what people are talking about. Again, these terms aren't set. These are just kind of my definitions. They're not absolutes, and I think it's important for us to have common ground when we're talking about formal and informal mathematics. So I'm talking about mathematics as a historically developed system of ideas that's taught through formal education. So I'm talking about abstract understandings based on representations, based on written forms of representation. And often for young children, I think about the math that young children engage in when they're in math class and the math that they're doing then. Informal mathematics, on the other hand, is more based on everyday activities. So I think about it as being concrete, linked to content, and it has names like workplace mathematics, out of school math, everyday math, types of names about informal mathematics. And I also think about it as the math people do or children do engaged in a purely mathematical activity. So the math you might use when you're playing a game, the math you use when you're shopping, for example. And I guess comes up, why bother with formal and informal? Why are we looking at both? And one of the, I think, a really important idea is that children interpret formal mathematics through informal mathematics. So it's linked with abstract. We want to develop this rich system of knowledge that's very flexible, that's fluid in conceptual understanding. And in order to do this, I think we need how formal and informal are linked. If we're just doing, it can with kids just answers, but there's not that understanding. So I think really there has to be this interaction between formal and informal. And this is based on, one of Vygotsky's primary theories of learning, everyday understandings giving meaning to form and vice versa. I'm going to move.
Interrupt again. Your sound is still a little bit faint, and I think it's because the webcam is actually up your sound, not the mic on your headphones. Closer you can come to the webcam, the better. Yeah, check your sound again, but you just have to come closer to the webcam. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt again.
Sorry. Try to stand up. Is that better?
Yeah, if you can, talk into the webcam. It's still going in and out. It's a loose connection. Yes, much better. That's hopefully it stays. That's okay. Hopefully it'll stay.
but yeah.
And we can clearly see as adults how these two problems are linked. I think what's missing from children is the link. Very explicit about it. And I think simple as telling the child, well, we counted 3 cabbages. Here's the numeral 3. This is what this 3 means. You can do 2. You can write and you can talk about what does that plus sign mean? Well, it means like how Joel is all together. So putting things all together, combining properties, combining quantity. About the equal sign, that it doesn't necessarily mean the answer, but it means on one side is the same as. There's a lot of things you can talk about, but I think important here is being explicit. There is a link between the abstract and linking the two so that children are reading the written number of 3 plus 2 equals through their informal knowledge, number and quantity. And last, training. Just, all of this would have to come with a lot. So I think there's points to focus on, which is the importance of mathematics for high quality instruction. So just training people on what mathematics looks like at the early grade, that children playing outside are often using informal mathematics. I think there's an awareness of rich mathematical knowledge that children develop out of. Oftentimes children, like the children in my were older and were entering school at an older age. And there's often a stigma around those children that they can't learn, they're not able to learn, but really they have a pretty rich system of mathematical knowledge. It's just not formal school-based knowledge, and there's a way to get them to the formal school-based through their informal. And attitudes towards informal mathematics. I mean, attitudes towards what children know and valuing what children are coming into the classroom with. And I think, again, another set of training with teachers especially is making that link between formal and informal very explicit. So that's all I have. If you guys, I would love to have questions, comments.
Thank you, Yasmin. If you have any questions, type them into the chat box, and I'll let Yasmin. So people are typing questions in, Yasmin. I think there's a delay in when people ask the questions and when I can see. Okay. Ellen, question. This is very interesting. I'm wondering during training sessions what kind of advice you could give to teachers and how to draw out the mathematical experience of children. Do you have any examples?
So to draw during training experience. So I'm thinking drawing out their info. I think there's ways. When I was in Mexico and I conducted my dissertation study, I worked the teacher of this group of kids and did a couple-day training session with them on just how to, what mathematics do they already know and how to use them. Some of these teachers were actually fascinated that children that they worked with were doing these relatively, for their age, complicated mathematical calculations and understanding, and using them problems. And so on the one level, it was, for me, it was just awareness that the teachers they weren't even aware that these kids were doing that. Of course, in my situation, I had the luxury of conducting this entire study for a couple months, able to develop a PD based. I think in other trainings, I think having teachers like watch kids when they're doing activities that are not mathematical, like if they are outside at recess, you can often just observe children playing at recess and or playing outside or any type of non-school setting, and you can just by kind of taking a step back and observing, can learn a lot about what children are doing informally and the different types of mathematics. So I think that would be, I haven't done that explicitly, I haven't actually done it. I think it would be great to try to help teachers in training see the mathematics that their children are bringing from the home, or ask parents. I mean, a lot of people go home, like you could do a survey.
Okay. Teresa has written that there's some interesting work that's been done 20 years ago in Brazil looking at these very questions, particularly street mathematics and school mathematics. And she was wondering, I mean, have you heard of this? And, it informed her work when she was doing work in Mozambique, in the UK and Mozambique. And Shireen has a question. She was wondering if you saw any differences in gender in your work and how girls and boys used and understood math. And Abby has a question. She's very interested to know your thoughts on how sellers' parents have helped to teach their children math skills. If this is a part of how skills are acquired, did they talk with sellers, or did you talk with sellers' parents at all? Thanks, Yasmin. Now, Nayoko has a question. She says, even in a formal setting, teachers pay attention to children's use of math in real life, and incorporating these samples in math instruction seems to enhance children's math skills. Is there any evidence if this increases math scores? Okay, thanks, Yasmin. Jeff has a question. He wants to know math, such as multiplying fractions. Would you still recommend trying to connect with the real world, perhaps rounding or estimation? Perhaps by rounding or estimation? Yes, of course. Jeff wants to know when things start getting more with math, such as multiplying fractions, you still recommend trying to connect with the real world, perhaps by rounding. Yes, yeah. Okay, I'm going to start wrapping up the webinar. If there's any any final questions, if you want to type it in as I'm concluding, I can convey them to Yasmin, or what we'll do is she'll answer the rest of them on the Numeracy COP site. We'll post the presentation as well as some of the references that she's mentioned as well, and her advisor's work and the other articles that she's talked about on the COP site. And if you have any additional questions to ask her, you can definitely post your question on the site and she'll get back to you throughout the month. But thank you everyone for joining us, and sorry again for the little bit of the technical errors that we had at the beginning, but we hope you enjoyed the presentation, and thank you very much, Yasmin, for this very interesting and insightful presentation. And we look forward to continue the conversation on the Numeracy COP site throughout the month. So thank you everybody. Thank you for joining. Bye-bye.